Nope. There we go. So thank you, Reverend Mary. And thank you to Damien for reading that wonderful poem, and to Andy for the River of Life. We're just delighted to be back here in Reading. It's been a while since we've been here. We always love to come here, and we love to stay with Barbie and Brad and hear the birds in the morning. It's so peaceful and wonderful, and we just feel so grateful to stay there. And grateful to be in this great community. We had a great time at the concert Friday night, and we're ready to go. So, no, we're not ready to go home. We're ready to go. So, this morning, I wanted to talk about the transformative power of Rumi. You probably all heard a Rumi poem or seen a book with Rumi in it, and he has the ability to take us deep. He writes a very short phrase, just like with Damien's reading, and you can feel it take you deep. And I'm suggesting that we use Rumi to help us in transforming. When it's time to transform, that we take a look at Rumi and see how he can help us. And you know, he was born 811 years ago. And he's still so popular right now. He's actually one of the best-selling poets in the United States right now on the bestseller list. Rumi, go figure. He's got such power. And whenever I do a talk and I have a Rumi quote in there, people just kind of drop down and go, there's a collective sigh like, oh, you know, he just brings you down to your center. And remember that we start from within. So he's all about transformation. And he's a mystic. And I think Ernest Holmes was a mystic. And Ernest Holmes described a mystic really well when he said, a mystic is one who intuitively perceives truth and who, without mental process, arrives at spiritual revelations. It is from the teachings of the great mystics that the best in philosophy of the world has come. So it's that ability to intuitively understand the truth through your heart. Because we get caught up in our head, and there's so many things up there like, oh, am I looking good right now? Oh, that might not work. Somebody might not like it. And when we think about new ideas, where when we come from that intuitive power of the heart, we know what to do. This is one of the first things that attracted me to soul collage, because in soul collage, you're making these collage cards, but you're picking pictures from your heart, not from your head, not figuring out what you want to do, but just letting your heart speak to you and your soul speak to you. And amazing things come out. People create a card and say, wow, I didn't even know that was going on with me. So it's very powerful to do that. Now, Rumi is very transformative. And what is transformation? If we're talking about transforming, what is it? It's sometimes taking a new path, turning in a new direction in our lives. It might be making new choices, stopping to make choices that are not serving us, and deciding to make a new choice. I mean, it starts with a decision, doesn't it? And also, it can be surrendering. Transformation almost always involves surrender. Letting go of the things that no longer serve us. Letting go of beliefs that we know are not true. Sometimes it means letting go of people in our lives who are not healthy for us, who are not serving us. So transformation involves a lot of things. And Rumi really speaks to that. His poetry is very simple and universal. We have some good friends, Lisa Ferraro and Etika Luckett, and Etika just made her transition not long ago, but they wrote some wonderful music. They decided when they got together to collaborate, they were going to put Rumi to music. They called it Rumi Tunes. And so they went to Turkey, where Rumi spent most of his time. They went to, and they went with a Rumi expert, and they really got involved in the culture and really went deeply. And then this amazing music came from there. And they have a CD called Ruby, R-U-B-Y, that I encourage you to check out online. But there's a poem that I really like by Rumi called Go to the root of your soul. And they wrote a very powerful song about this, which Andy is going to play for you, and after I read a couple of lines from that poem. The root of yourself. Don't go away. Come near. Don't be faithless. Be faithful. Find the antidote in the venom. Come to the root of yourself. You are a ruby embedded in granite. How long will you pretend it isn't true? You can see it in your eyes. Come to the root of yourself.
Come to the root of yourself. Don't go away. Come near. Don't be faithless. Find courage in the fear. Come to the root of yourself. Love is a stranger with a language rarely understood. At home, amidst danger. Come to the root of yourself. Get hold of selflessness. Your ego is left behind. A lover is made defenseless. Come to the root of yourself. Open your hidden eyes. You are a seal on a treasure, and you're a diamond light. Come to the root of yourself. You've come from a presence of a friend. A little drunk, but gentle, and stilling our hearts with that look so full of fire. Come to the root of yourself. Surely we've met before, since the beginning of time. The table was set, and glory, glory, brought a rare wine. Glory, glory, brought a rare wine. Oh, glory, glory, brought a rare wine.
Thank you, Andy. So Rumi encourages us to go deep into our own self, deep into our own heart. And it's really difficult to do that if we don't become still in our lives. Because sometimes we have so many things to do on our to-do list. I don't know about you, but I never get to them all. And we're running around doing this and doing that and trying to accomplish everything and be everything we need to be. And then we never take that time to go deep and to listen to our soul, to listen to the message that's calling to us. And sometimes what happens is if we don't listen, it happens in a more challenging way. Maybe a health crisis, or someone close to us passes away, or we somehow have some hardship in our lives to work our way through. And you know, many people who go through transformation, it begins with something like that. With Andy and I, our daughter-in-law made her transition when she was 33 years old suddenly, and left my son and a couple of little boys, and that was transformative to us. It was so painful that someone so young could go. We had to look at our lives totally differently now and see, oh, what are we doing what we love? So Rumi talks about the transformative, what does he say? Oh, tells us to set our life on fire. Set your life on fire. I encourage you to take some of these Rumi lines and take the string, the thread that calls to you, and work with it. You know, pray on it, write about it, allow it to teach you. Read some of his poetry and pick out something that really resonates with you. So he says, set yourself on fire. Seek. So I was thinking about sitting around a campfire. You know, you start out with the dry wood and the sticks and the kindling and the fire, and then when you light it, and it starts to burn, it's what an amazing example of transformation, because you have this dry wood and then it becomes beautiful colors. It changes colors as it burns. It dances. It crackles. It moves in there. It's totally transformed. The energy is totally transformed. So what if that energy was in our lives, that fire? He also challenges us to seek those who fan your flames. Seek those who fan your flames. Do you have a friend or a loved one that encourages you, that will fan those flames that you start to feel? Or is there someone in your life who will throw cold water on it? because it's getting too hot and it scares them? Because sometimes when we begin to transform, those around us won't like it too much because we're changing. So seek those who fan our flames. Those are people who inspire us, too, to go bigger, people who are living the big life. And Ernest Holmes said, as the Christ awakens, shot from the central fires of the universal flame, is able to warm other souls by the radiance of its own self-unfoldment. So when we catch on fire, it spreads. Other people catch it from us as we caught it from someone else. It encourages other people to change their path, to go for the big dream, to believe in themselves. You know, the simple story that I love that really is a great metaphor for transformation is the simple story of the caterpillar to the butterfly. You know, we teach that to our preschoolers. They bring the caterpillars in and watch them do the chrysalis. But it's a very powerful lesson because it starts out as a caterpillar. And the caterpillar is crawling along the ground, maybe crawling up a weed or the side of a tree. But the caterpillar's view of life is very limited. He just sees what's down there in front of them pretty much. He does not have a big perspective on life. And then when he begins to be ready to change, he starts eating ravenously. Maybe we do that too when we start to transform. He starts eating everything and growing, and he gets so big that he sheds several skins. And then he gets so big he can't even move, so he affixes himself upside down on the side of a branch or a tree. And then the chrysalis starts to form, the wonderful protective casing that keeps him safe in the midst of this change. And then an amazing thing starts to happen. There are what the scientists call imaginal cells in the caterpillar. And they start to wake up at this point. And they're the cells of the butterfly. They have a totally different frequency than the caterpillar cells. They're a totally different type of cell. And they begin to wake up, and they begin to multiply. And at first, the immune system of the caterpillar thinks that they're an enemy, and they try and fight them off. But they keep growing, and they get stronger and stronger. And they reach a point where they win over from the caterpillar cells. And then it starts, the butterfly begins to form in the chrysalis. But before that happens, there's this goop in there. Everything falls apart. There's this goop that becomes food for the butterfly that's forming. And sometimes when we go through transformations, our lives will fall apart. Have you ever had that happen in your life? Things begin to fall apart. You think it's, the end of life, when it's actually a transformation, a new beginning. So after a while, the butterfly is formed in there, and at some point that only the butterfly knows, it's ready to come out of its chrysalis, and it begins to fight its way out. And sometimes we might look at that chrysalis and say, oh, that poor butterfly's having to fight his way out. Let me help him and open the chrysalis. And do you know what happens if you do that? They often die. Because someone out there said this, because they need that. They need that last exertion to strengthen their wings if you help them. So we can't help people through that. We can support them, but we can't do it for them. And sometimes that can be very challenging. But then, so out we have this beautiful gossamer butterfly that miraculously emerges from the cocoon and begins to fly after his wings have dried. And then you have butterfly consciousness. You have a butterfly view of the world. You're high up, you're looking down, you're being attracted to the beautiful colors of the flowers. And so it's transformed from being a very limited viewpoint to being expansive and beautiful. Rumi says, when you do things from your soul, you feel a river moving in you, a joy. Do you feel that river moving in you? Do you do things from your soul? And he writes about love, which is really the path of transformation. Love is so important. Andy's got a whole CD on love. Stand up and show me your t-shirt. He's all about love. And so he says this is love, to fly towards a secret sky and cause 100 veils to fall each moment. First, let go of life. Finally, take a step without feet. Cause 100 veils to fall each moment. So what are the veils that we have in between the truth of ourselves, the beauty of ourselves, and what we see? Sometimes what gets in the way is having to find the approval of other people, or being afraid to step out because some people aren't going to like it. Or, oh, maybe it wouldn't work. And I've lived my life that way sometimes, wanting everybody to like me. And that's crazy. You know, someone said, only half the people are going to like you anyway. You might as well forget about it and just be yourself. So, Rumi, I love this Rumi quote about not caring what other people think. He tells us to start a huge, foolish project like Noah. It makes absolutely no difference what people think of you. Do you think people thought Noah was crazy when he started building an ark, when there was no water, when he started gathering the animals? If he was worried about what other people would think, that none of that would have happened. So go forth boldly like Noah. I remember, see, that's one that I use in my transformation, that I remember. Start a huge, foolish project like Noah. And so I encourage you to get a book on, or go online. You know, you just Google Rumi quotes, and millions of them come up. They're powerful. Some are long, some are short, but go through and read them and find one that resonates with you. As I said, pull that thread of wisdom and work with that and remember it and use it in your transformation. Because Rumi encourages us to go within, like Ernest Holmes does. He encourages us to remember the brilliance of who we are. And that if we're always afraid to step out for what the other person will think, we'll never do anything. But to listen to our soul rather than our head, which sometimes just takes us around in a hamster wheel. I don't know about your head, but mine does that sometimes. So he encourages us to go beyond our boundaries. So I'm encouraging you today to go beyond your boundaries. You were born with potential. You were born with goodness and trust. You were born with ideals and dreams. You were born with wings. You were not meant for crawling, so don't. You have wings. Learn to use them and fly. So now let's pray. Take a deep breath with me. As we know together that we are one with the creative force of the universe. We are one with the butterfly consciousness, the higher self, the truth. We are one with the truth of who we are. We are one with God, unstoppable. And today we begin to listen more to our soul, to quiet that linear thinking of our brain and go to the soul, which sometimes doesn't make sense, to trust, to seek the fire of our life, to set our life on fire, and know that those who fan our flames will show up, as will those who don't. We make new choices. We make choices from our heart, letting go of any idea that we could displease anyone. We go forward with the faith of Rumi, the words of Rumi in our heart. There's a candle in your heart ready to be kindled. There is a void in your soul ready to be filled. You feel it, don't you? We feel this, we know it. And I'm so grateful for this soul called Rumi. I'm so grateful for transformation in my own life. So grateful that others have come before me to show me the way. And so grateful for those who come to me now to help in my transformation. I choose butterfly consciousness. I stay above the fray. I know the truth, and the truth sets me free. Thank you, God. Thank you, thank you, thank you, God. I release this now into the fertile soil of mind where it germinates and comes forth in fruit. And please join me in saying, and so it is. Thank you.